initiated us to have this workshop. And what is it? This is how a group of people or family can buy a house. So you and me, we can team up to buy a house. And again, the main reason is because to buy a property is difficult. You need down payment, credit check, plus you also need stress tests. In Canada, they do stress tests, which is, I mean, it's ridiculous. Why would they be testing my stress level? In case you cannot pay mortgage, they want to know. They do your stress test to know if you cannot pay level, if you have the stamina to have a house. Because not everybody, just imagine you lose your job. Some people will panic and they will just go foreclosure. So they want to know if you have the stamina to resist. It's like starting a business. If you don't have the stamina of all those calls coming in, then don't start a business. So how does this start? So how does this work? How do people team up to buy a property? We call it real estate group. I'm going to display my screen again. As an engineer, all what we do is we show, when we design something, we have to show people. So anything I do, I have to show proof, because if I don't show proof, they're not going to believe me. It's like Thomas. So I will share my screen again. Okay, so here we are on my website. Oh, we also have a website for sale. So someone just bought this beautiful website and it says sold. Wow, congratulations to the person. It's a very nice website. So let's go over to investing real estate. So my website is www.veuniverse.com. Every information you need about the investing, you will find it here. You have small business, you have real estate, you have this, I have a page on the stock market alone, stock market education, news. There is a broker quest trade, and then I have the courses that I'm offering. We're offering courses. I even have my number here. You can enroll in the course. We also have coaching one-on-one, and then we have the workshop, which is starting next week. Okay, so can you guys see my screen? You guys can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So I belong to a group called the Cameroonians Canadian Investment Group. I was the last person to join that group, and I was so happy that I did. As a matter of fact, a couple of weeks before I joined, I had some discussion with some group of guys, and we said, you know what, why are the Indians or the Chinese, why are they so successful in real estate, buying homes, and we are behind? Why can't we come up with a group? I actually pitched this information out. And I told them it's just we come up together, put our money, like-minded people, come with some bylaws, and we can get our own properties. It's gonna reduce the fact for down payment because all of us will come with some money. Credit check, if we decide to do an LLC, or as a matter of fact, we don't even have to do, when both of us come up, there's always that one person who always got good credit. We can even use them to start. And everybody said, you know what, Victor, it is brilliant. After I left that meeting, 2 weeks forward, I talked to one person and I brought that idea. He's like, oh, we already have something like that. Did you not know? I'm like, no, I did not know. He said, oh, Victor, you should have been in that group. I'm like, really? It's like, oh, we're gonna have a meeting this day. Can you come in? I just went there. That same day, I joined. And why? They already have their constitution. They already bought their first house a year ago. So it was already paved for me. I don't have to struggle anymore. Whereas the one that I pitched, I would have started it, draw the law, and then try to call people to solicit if they want to join it. So I skipped all that part and I joined something which was already existing. So how does it work? It is just a group of like-minded people come together. Most of these groups normally start like what in the Western world they call savings group. In the Western world, they call it a saving group, but we call it Njangi. Most of these things start with Njangi. You have Njangi, 10 of you. as time goes on, you start knowing each other. You know their strength. You know this person's strength. You know their weakness. You know this person's strength. You know their weakness. As time goes on, you guys can team up now and say, you know what? So now this is how it all started. So people, you have this Njangi, you are doing your Njangi month in, month out, there is no problem. You know, with the Western world, they also have savings group. They just call it savings group, but in their case, they are binded by some laws. So they sign some paperwork. But in our case, we trust ourselves so much that most Njangi, I've been in a couple of Njangis, there's never in Njangi that I've signed a paper that, oh, this is a contract. Which, if you say that to a Western person, they'll be like, really? So that's how people start with a real estate group. When you start with this group, as time goes on, you convert it to a platform. Now, platform simply means like-minded people. Now you people know exactly what you want. You want to buy your house. It's open. But because buying a house is completely different from the $100 or the $1,000 that you do, for buying a house, you need some laws, rules, and regulations.
Just pause. Just put everybody on pause, please. Somebody.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I can see Brother Jaja is on. Brother Jaja, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. So as you can see, this is how it goes. Now you have what is called the constitution or bylaws. You all know that the way we are, when people hear about bylaws, what happened, now they start taking things serious because they know in case you default, it's binded by the law. Just so you know, most states or most countries, if you sign your signature somewhere that you agree on something, you're binded. You don't have to go to court to sign, just sign it. If you loan money to somebody, the person put the signature, it's binded by law. Even talking over the phone right now, if there's something called equitable estoppel in law, I'm not a lawyer, but there's something called equitable estoppel. If you promise something on the phone with somebody and the person have it recorded, it is binded. You'll be held responsible for it. So that's what people do now with the bylaws. They can start buying property. You can buy your first property. There was less risks because you put money together, less risks for credit check, less risks for all the risk. Now you buy a first property. When you buy a first property, what happened? You rent it out. Just like I did a video about a property that we bought in Cambridge. Now it's rented. We have rented it out. We are taking rents every month. So after you buy the first property, you can now move to the second property. So that's how it works. You get your first house, you get your second house, you get your third house. The group that I joined, they already have one apartment in Mississauga, but now we finished Cambridge. Now we're gonna move to the next house. It's rented out now, so now we are planning to the third house. That is pretty much how it works. It's not too complicated. Chinese are doing it. Indians are doing it. Filipinos are doing it. All these people are doing it. It is only us that we were not doing it. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because the bigger group that we have, the Growing Wealth Education, people have been asking this question. When they saw that video, they were so amazed. They are like, oh, how can we do that? How can we do that? So that's why I am bringing this up. I will show you guys the video. So if you have not seen it, if you just go to my YouTube, it's there. The video that we bought the house.
Don't overcome.
I did a house opening, a presentation. So this is the house. This is when we went to open the house. So you can just go in there and check it. It's just, it shows everything that happened. So this is a new brown house we bought. That's the washroom for the visitor. So after that, you buy another one and then you move to the third. So pretty straightforward. That's the way we can now leverage ourselves to buy property. Yellow shoes, blue shoes. You share information between yourself. I compliment Sango Njaba compliment Sango Esombi, and then we just buy it. And when the profit comes, we share it. a win-win. From there, you move to the next property. You move to the next property. Again, someone called me from Houston and like, oh, they want to join the group. I'm like, the group is already closed, but you guys can team up there in Houston. If you're in Ohio, you can team up, find some friends. I mean, there are people with liquid cash. I was talking to the other guy, he had like 50,000 sitting somewhere in the bank, not doing anything. That's what you do. You just, and the way it is structured is it's using the principle of the stock market. Once you guys started, and I'm open, we can share our constitution. I know there are some people on the forum from that group. I know Dr. Eseme is here. Maybe at one point, Dr. Eseme can say something. So once you open that group, you spread it out into shares. So one share can be 5,000 or 2.5. People can be buying different shares. There are some people who bought 3 shares. In our case, one share is 5,000. So I bought 2 shares, 10,000. There are people who bought 3 shares. Somebody bought 1 share based on your financial level. So it's not, don't think that all 10 of you will come up with 40,000 or 20,000. No, you, if you're comfortable with 5,000, buy 1 share. If I can handle 2 shares, I buy 2 shares. And then once the profit comes in, we're gonna split the profit based on the yeah. So it is a simple scenario, simple. So yes,
so Victor, I have a big question. I think with this thing, you know, it sounds really kind of nice and lucrative, but the issue with management. So I don't know if you people have like a management firm that helps you people with it, because, you know, like you said, the whole Jange thing, you know, we just trust each other. So with all that, how do you manage it? You know, now you're going like 3 homes, 4 homes, 5 homes, you know, do you people just manage it, or you have a really, yeah, you can, yeah.
Yeah, that's a very good question. Right now we have just 2 homes, and the good thing is that we have people who are technical, we have people who are business inclined, we have people in every domain. So right now we have not even taken a management firm to manage it. When we were looking for someone to take the rent, we just checked a realtor agent who did it for us. When it was time to put some of the furnitures in, we just went in and put the furnitures in. But that's very good. We know when it gets to 3 homes, 4 homes, we will need a property manager who will be managing that for us to pay. For now, we have just 2. We just started, just 2. I mean, I can go and cut the grass or do whatever in the sales, you know. So I don't have to bring any management. The more money you leave in your pocket, the more beneficial it's for both of you, of all of you. But along the line, because if you have more properties, it means you guys have more capital. So now you can pay, you know, a property manager. Yeah, so if you have any question, bring it up, or we're going to move to real estate crowdfunding, which is another amazing topic. So any questions, Sangun Jabbar, before we move to real estate crowdfunding?
Yeah, the question, not really a question, just that what you have tried to do is, it appears you have tried to summarize it. There are more things in it, not that more difficult things in it, but you have made it easier because, as you said, when you started the workshop, that with less than 10,000, people can steal. So sometimes it may just be a structure to bind the people together, and with that, they can meet some funders or developers or whatever, and they'll get the money to get the property, so, which is okay.
So now let's go to the second point, which is exciting. It's a point that most people, as a matter of fact, I have a group, we have a group which is a Growing Wealth Education WhatsApp group. If you're interested in joining, or if you consider joining that group, just inbox me. A lot of people were asking, because I did a video how a group of people team up to buy a house. That was one of the easiest way to buy a house and make money in real estate. So a lot of people came back like, how does it work? Can you explain? So that's why I decided to incorporate it in this video. We call it real estate groups. So again, I will analyze it by displaying a screen, but let's talk about it a little bit. You know, when it comes to real estate, especially in the Western world, it's kind of challenging because for you to buy a house, first you need a down payment. Down payment, you have 20% down payment in some states or some cities. Some might go with 15, but you need this chunk of money. Let's say you want to buy a house for 500,000. Do you know what is 20,000? 20% of 500,000? That's a lot of money. So if you are strong enough, you can buy your residential home. But for you to add a second property and a third property, it's difficult. They also do credit check. And in some cities, they do what is called stress test to find out if you have the stamina to keep a house. So now, Chinese, Indians, what they do is they form these groups. They form groups called investment groups, and they start buying houses. You see them buying the first house, second house, third house. And we were so surprised and amazed, but why are they doing it and we cannot do it? So we decided now to team up to create something like that. We create a structure, friends or family or like-minded people where you have the same idea, the same drive, you team up and you buy that property. Some people normally start like a savings group. You call it the Njangi group. In the Western world, they call it the saving group. When you save with the same people over and over, as time goes on, you build that trust. When you build trust, you can say, okay, this person is strong in this domain, this person is strong in this domain. You can share the responsibility and you buy a house. When you buy that house, what happens? When you guys sell the house, want to make profit, you share the proceeds. So let's go over to my screen. I will share a structure that I drafted about real estate group. Okay, so can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, good. So this is a structure. This is how it works. You have team of friends. So you can have Victor, you can have Brother Sambi, you can have Veteran, you can have John. We all come together. We already have like-minded. We are in a savings group, or we are in Njangi. We've been contributing money month in, month out. This week, this person is eating. The next week, the other person is eating. We've done that for maybe a couple of months or even a year or two. Now we said, okay, you know what? Everything is moving good. Why don't we step it up a little bit, step up our game to make more money? Because the more you invest, the more money you make. There's no question about it. Now you create what is called a platform. That Njangi or that savings is the platform. At that platform level now, you have a structure. Now, what is a structure? A structure is just the arrangement, the parts, the pieces. So you put all these people together, all the knowledge you have together. This person can do this. You are a handy guy. You can take care of the land more. As a matter of fact, the house that we bought, we were the one taking care of all, the logistics before we even look at getting, like a realtor manager. So with that particular structure, now you start saying, okay, this is what will happen. This is the area where we can target. This is, our capital. And then finally, you need a policy. Normally, I should have said bylaws or a constitution. But no, I don't like to use that because when people hear about laws, most people get panicked when they hear about laws. But that's what binds that association. If you have a group which is not binded, there is no policy, some people might not take it serious. It's not that you don't trust each other, but when you make it binded, which means there is constitution and bylaws, people take it so serious. Let me tell you something. In the Western world, it's not only when you sign a contract that binds you to something. There is something called in law that equitable estoppel. Even if you tell somebody over the phone that, oh, I will give you this. Oh, I will send you this. That's already a contract. If the person have it in a recording, the person can hold that as a contract. So once you have your policy, you already have the structure, the platform, you know exactly which sector to target, you have that bylaws. Now you just start buying. You just start buying properties. As you can see here, you can start, you buy your first property. Once people start making money, you now move on to the second property. You move on to the third property, and that's how people, you know, get to the point where you see a group of just 10 people having what? 10 or 3 or 4 or 5 houses that all they have to do is rent it for some time and then sell it out. That's so easy. Real estate group, that's the structure and that's how you invest on it. So now let's bounce back to the panel if we have any questions. But it's good as we move on. If there are questions, we bring in the question, we trash it, and then we move on. So if you have any question, you can bring that up.
Hey, Victor, I always go, this is Sambi again, I always go back to our community. What are some of the challenges or impediments that you encounter, and how did you walk around to convince, I know you said like-minded people, but there's always some lingering doubts about everybody, about such initiative. What are some of the roadblocks you encounter, and how did you, or which strategy did you use to resolve those? If you can share with those.
Yeah,
because you know there is multiple in Jangi. As we sit here, I think they're like all over the place, and it's still the same memorandum of understanding, and it stops right there. So as you said, we need to take it further, and there will always be blockages and all that. So that's the reason for my question.
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. As a matter of fact, that question comes up regularly. Some of the challenges that you face is the first challenge you were facing in the real estate was what type of house to buy. Some people were like, let's buy condominium. Some people were like, let's buy townhouse. Some people were like, let's buy a detached home. I came into play in that case. A condominium takes a long time to build. Because when we want to invest, we want to make sure we have a turnover around a year, or highest a year or 2. Condominiums is a high rise which can be 50 floors. Sometimes it might take even 10 years to complete a condo. As a matter of fact, before I joined the group, they bought a condo, and the condo is still in construction. So when I came in, I told them, guys, let's go in. So we were contemplating, I told them, guys, let's go in for a townhouse. The highest a townhouse will take is 12 months to 16 months to build a townhouse, so long as the structure is, you know, established. And guess what? Everybody was on board. After 12 months, we bought the first house, which I'm going to show you guys. I have a video that I did, the house tour. So those are the challenges, which structure to use. So that's where we brainstorm. Another point was, when you start such a group, not everyone got the same financial stability. Because if you're buying a house for 500,000, you guys have to split. You have to split, you know, the cost. And we were buying directly from the developers. When you buy direct from the developers, you take advantage because there is nothing like down payment. So they will tell you, bring up 50,000 within a period of a year. That's how we tackle that. So now when it comes to sharing that 50,000 or sharing the 60,000, comes another challenges, because some people will be like, oh, I cannot afford 10,000, I cannot afford 15,000. So what did we do? The same philosophy as the stock market. We break that money down into shares. We said, okay, let's say one share is 5,000. I mean, We don't want to go one share 1,000. You will have millions of shares if we're in New York Stock Exchange. So we break it down 5,000. So at least it's now open. Cut your code according to your size. If you can afford 5,000, you buy 1 share. If you can afford 10,000, you buy 2 shares. But the first draw is that it's open to every investor, so everyone will buy. So once everyone get 1 share, now the second shift comes in. The people who are more stronger financially, they now come in and buy more. There are some people who have 3 shares. There are some people who have 1 share. So those are the challenges. And we tackle that in a mature way because not everyone, again, got the same financial strength. So that's how we tackle that. And again, we also have challenges. Sometimes during the process, there are some people who are going to see the developers. There are some people who are working with, you know, the mortgage system because eventually once you guys buy the house, there'll be mortgage. You look at the strength of the association or the meeting. When you look at the strength, you know this person is stronger in this term. And there's always that 2 or 3 people that are always on the forefront. That's the good thing about this group. God always bless groups because there are always some 2 people who takes it so serious while there are some people who are laid back. So that's how you supplement each other. Yes, so I had one question. Who was saying that, Victor, why don't you just talk a little bit, what are stocks? The basic, which is very good. I like that question. Stock market is piece owner of a company. You own a piece of a company. When people create a company, they create it as sole proprietor or partnership. In the Western world, if you want to fund your company, you take it to the stock exchange. The main reason why the stock exchange is developed is to fund business. It was not to give investors money. The Western world is run by businesses and companies. So once you open a company, you've went through all that stress, all that pressure to open a company. They want your company to succeed, as opposed to a third world where if you create a company, what happened? They hammer you from day one with taxes. Before you even have a name of a company, they've already killed your company with taxes. That's the difference between third world and first world. So now, you take your company, you chop your company into small pieces. I always use the example of a pizza. If you have a circular pizza, cut it up into small slices. That's your company, because you want money to expand north, east, and west. When you cut up those company, what happened? You now take it to the public. So John can buy one, Sam can buy one, Ben can buy one. Once we all, we acquired our pieces, we now become part owner of that company. When the company makes money, I make money, you make money. That's the beauty about the stock market. And when you go into that company, you feel, you have that zeal, like you patronize it. It's like I have Walmart shares. When I go to Walmart, I feel like I own a piece of Walmart. They always send you shareholder reports, shareholder meetings, sometimes teleconference, you attend all of their meetings. So that's what the stock market is all about. People look at it, they think it's so complicated. No, it's straightforward. It is the approach to the stock market that is complicated because some people pass through the back door. If you go into the stock market with little or no education, you will be so sorry to yourself because the stock market is like going to war. If you have no education, it will eat up your money. When you get to the stock market is very calm. It always welcomes new people. When you are new, it might let you eat. You might invest, you make $500,000, $2,000. But when it wants to take its own human tax, is huge. When it looked at you and it says, okay, this guy's been around for a while, I haven't seen any human tax. When you start investing 10, 20,000, that's when it's gonna suck it up. And I really don't like to hear all those questions where people are calling me, I've lost 10,000, 5,000. That's why we have the defensive approach. Come next week, September 25th, we're gonna start with our workshop. So feel free to message me, WhatsApp, my phone number is on the screen so I can enroll you to that workshop. That's the defensive approach, how to avoid not to lose money in the stock market.